Some people may know Jake Paul from Disney Channel, some may know him from doing Vine, a lot of you probably know him from his time on YouTube, but nowadays, Jake the Problem Child Paul is known worldwide as a boxer, although he didn't really get to this point of notoriety in the most respectful manner. You see, Jake started finding fame posting videos on platforms like Vine, and that later transpired into YouTube, and with his rising popularity within the social media space, this even landed him a role on Disney Channel back in 2016 on a show known as Bizaardvark, which ironically was about a bunch of teenagers making crazy content on social media, which of course was a perfect role for no one other than Jake Paul at the time. In fact, he may have been just too perfect for this role, because the crazy content that he was making in real life is what ultimately led to him becoming an extremely controversial content creator, and eventually in 2017 that would cause Disney Channel to completely part ways with Jake. But even with him getting fired by Disney, that didn't calm Jake or his content down at all. In fact, it really all led to him being even more wild. And while this type of behavior and content was helping him go viral and helping him rack up millions of views on the internet, it would also lead to him becoming one of the most hated creators on not just social media but in real life as well, as a young Jake Paul and the group he created that went by the name of Team 10 caused a lot of problems within his own neighborhood.
We used to be a really nice, quiet street, and now we're just this like war zone. We're families here, and we're more than happy to have them live here if they're respectful of their neighbors, but they're not.
But you see, as time progressed, Jake ended up hitting his absolute peak on YouTube, and with that, he knew it was time for him to once again find a new passion. And truthfully, this came at a great time because this was the era of influencer and celebrity boxing starting to rise. Actually, Jake's older brother Logan Paul really helped popularize this within the creator community, and he did this alongside another creator as well who went by the name of KSI, as the two of them would be the first two YouTubers to not only be the main event of a boxing attraction, but this event was also under an entire promotion company and all. But you see, even though this event was headlined by his older brother, Jake will also be a part of this entire event as well, as he was fighting on the undercard as the co-main event versus KSI's little brother Deji, who was also a very popular creator on YouTube as well. This was Jake's first taste of boxing on the big stage, and it was clear that he wanted more. So as time went on, he started racking up not only fights but wins as well. And he was getting these wins in a very fashionable manner, with 4 of his first 5 professional fights ending by way of knockout, which usually is a great start for anyone's boxing career. But for Jake, this all seemed to be a bit frowned upon because he wasn't exactly doing it against the highest level of competitions, or really any competition at all for that matter. You see, his first quote-unquote pro fight was against a fellow creator by the name of Aneeson Gibb. Next, there was former NBA player Nate Robinson, who was 36 years old at the time of the fight. But eventually, Jake did get to a point where there was a slight increase in competition as he began fighting a bunch of old retired UFC fighters who didn't really end their careers off too well, such as Ben Askren, who was also 36 years old at the time of the fight, and not to mention he was never really known to be much of a boxer during his time in the UFC, so that ended up being a pretty lackluster fight as well, as Jake knocked him out in the very first round. Next, Jake ended up facing Tyron Woodley, and at that point Tyron was his highest level of competition yet. Now, even though Tyron was 39 years old at the time of the fight, he was still in great shape unlike the other 2 people Jake had fought prior, and while he also wasn't known as much of a boxer during his time in the UFC, he's always been known to have some serious power behind his punches, which led to him getting a few knockouts in the UFC as well. So that power alone made people think that Jake was finally facing a quality opponent, even though he was 39 and he was never really known to be a stand-up boxer. It was really just something for people to grasp onto, hoping that Tyron could catch him with one punch and knock Jake out, which really didn't happen at all. But he did prove to be Jake's toughest opponent, as he was the first person to ever take Jake to decision, which Jake still ended up winning, and that led to the two later doing a rematch against each other, and this time it ended completely different for Tyron, as Jake brutally knocked him out in like the 6th round, I believe. And believe it or not, even after all of those wins, Jake still had no respect within the boxing community. But that wasn't all bad, because the one and only thing Jake really had going within the boxing community was hype. You see, Jake continued on fighting these washed up, old, boring fighters, and even though he wasn't getting any respect for winning these fights, all of those events still managed to pull in millions of views and also millions of dollars as well. So with that being said, the plan that Jake had started becoming more and more obvious to the public eye. You see, many people had the stigma early on that Jake was rigging fights or paying these fighters to lose, or whatever the case was, and maybe that could be true. Or maybe on the other hand, he was just beating up these old washed fighters. Whatever you think it was, it doesn't really matter because none of it was actually Jake's real motive with the sport. Have you ever wondered what truly kept Jake motivated to box in a community that wanted nothing to do with him at all? Why would he keep putting himself in harm's way and getting in danger and all of these things? Well, the short answer is money. Every fight that Jake Paul has done throughout his career has earned him and his opponent millions of dollars. Even when he finally lost his first fight after fighting Tommy Fury, which is someone who actually has a boxing background, Jake still managed to take home a whopping $30 million, which is more than the winner of the fight got paid, but he got a pretty hefty payday as well at $20 million. But the truth is, this whole thing still goes a lot deeper than just payouts from getting in the ring. You see, in 2021, Jake Paul co-founded his own promotion company known as Most Valuable Promotions, or MVP for short. This was his strategic pivot away from boxer to promoter. He aimed to completely reshape boxing's business model, and the most underrated part of this all was his plan to completely take over women's boxing. You see, MVP's first major signing was Amanda Serrano. She's someone who's been around Jake Paul since the start of this entire thing, and she's widely regarded as one of the best female boxers of all time. And it was clear that when Paul signed her, he wasn't just going around signing boxers, he was actually changing lives. Because this was the first example that he had of being able to elevate women's boxing financially in a way that has never been before. Serrano always credits MVP for revitalizing her career, bringing in record-breaking viewership as well as record paydays, and also even helping her secure roles like chairwoman of MVP's women's boxing division.
It's incredible how it took a man like him, an influencer, to change the whole sport of boxing. I'm truly honored to have him by my side, managing my career. All these years, I feel like I've been doing everything right, but we just didn't have that one person to push, to show that, look, this is Amanda Serrano.
But the thing was, Jake didn't just stop there at Serrano. As MVP continues to grow and he's continuing to do these record-breaking fights, he's also bringing in other women fighters as well, like Alicia Baumgardner. She's known to be a really good boxer. She has a record of 17-1. And after signing her, after seeing all of this success with Amanda Serrano, it became very clear that Jake's whole plan was to completely reinvent the sport of women's boxing. And he knew that the only way to do this was through the use of viral fights, but not exactly for the women. You see, even though all of these women are much more respected in the world of boxing than Jake Paul is, none of them really have the hype or popularity that Jake Paul has to promote or sell a fight, and that's where the role of Jake Paul comes in all of this. Jake never cared about winning or losing any of the fights he took. What became important to Jake was doing the unthinkable in order to sell this fight. He wanted to build more and more hype for each and every time he stepped foot in the ring, which is why after every single one of his matches, he managed to call out some of the biggest names in boxing, knowing that he had no real chance at winning against any of them.
I want to be world champion. Zerto looks slow as shit tonight. That'd be easy work too. Bando Jack, I want everybody. Anthony Joshua, Gervonta, and Tommy, stop running.
Now, truth be told, nobody cared about Jake winning any of these fights. Many people believed it was rigged anyway. It truthfully did nothing for his career but fatten his pockets. The only thing that Jake managed to get people to care about was who he was fighting next. People wanted to know, was he actually going to fight a real boxer? Was he going to fight another old UFC athlete? Who was Jake Paul going to fight next? And that ended up becoming a question that got a whole lot harder after 2024 when Jake's promotion company MVP struck a partnership with Netflix. You see, these opponents started becoming more and more enticing because once this partnership happened, the paydays started going up, the viewership started going up, because from that point forward, these fights started being broadcasted to all 300 million of the active Netflix users across the world. So of course, no one really wanted to see Jake Paul go in there and fight a nobody. So this led to Jake beginning to fight people like Mike Tyson, who even at 60 years old still managed to pull in over 100 million viewers on Netflix, which earned Jake Paul around $40 million and even landed Mike a nice payday with $20 million as well, which of course isn't bad for a 60-year-old at all. So with these types of payouts, of course anybody would be lining up at the door to fight Jake Paul, which put him in a prime position to line up a blockbuster fight under his own promotion card MVP, which had just partnered with Netflix. And as we should all know by now, Jake took full advantage of this opportunity. After an embarrassing fight against 60-year-old Mike Tyson, Jake would later announce to the world that he was set to fight the most popular fighter in all of boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis, who's widely known as a knockout artist with the very impressive record of 30-0. Well, 30-0 in one draw. But of course, an announcement like this got the attention of the entire world, but unfortunately plans started to fall through as we got closer and closer to fight night. Ultimately, the fight ended up getting cancelled, and that left Jake scrambling to find a new opponent. And the problem was, this opponent had to be another fighter that was in the same caliber as Tank. He couldn't just go get some old UFC fighter or old basketball player or whoever. He had to go out and find someone that would uphold or even boost the hype that the fight already had. And that's exactly what Jake did. He went out and got another fighter who was known for knocking heads off, but the thing was, this fighter was a former heavyweight world champion who is a whole lot bigger than not only Gervonta Davis but Jake Paul as well. And this instantly drew all the fight hype right back in, not because Anthony Joshua is anywhere near as popular as Gervonta Davis, but simply because Anthony Joshua is literally known for knocking people out stone cold. So everyone really just wanted to see him obliterate Jake Paul. And that's what ultimately ended up happening during the fight, as Jake got knocked out in the 6th round after getting hit with a punch so hard that it broke his jaw. But even with a broken jaw, after the fight, Jake still seemed to be in high spirits. And why exactly would that be? Why would he be in a good mood after getting knocked out, getting his jaw broken, and finally losing a fight, getting all of this hate online? What reason did Jake have to be happy? Well, from that 6th round fight alone, he managed to make over $90 million, which is his highest payout received for any fight thus far. And the success within the numbers didn't end there, because the viewership totaled a whopping 33 million views, which made it one of the most popular boxing events this entire year, which obviously was great for MVP, because not only was Jake the main event of this card, the woman I mentioned earlier, Alicia Baumgartner, also co-mained event this entire thing. So it was without a doubt a great night for MVP, even with the star getting his jaw broken in front of everyone. I think it's fair to say that Jake Paul doesn't care about winning or losing boxing matches. He may say he wants to be the world champion, but we all know that's not going to happen. It's literally just something he's doing to continue building hype for his boxing career. But the reality of it is, if you haven't understood by now, Jake doesn't care about being a boxer. The only thing that he's truly focused on is building a boxing empire outside of the ring. But that's just my personal opinion. As you guys know, the only opinion that matters to me is you guys' opinion. So with that being said, be sure to leave me a comment down below and let me know, how do you feel about this entire situation? Do you think there's some secret business of Jake Paul where he doesn't really care about making it as a boxer? Do you think he's only in it for the money? Do you think he truly wants to develop women's boxing? Just let me know what you think down below. And while you're at it, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join me on my journey to 25K. And while you're at it, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy the video, be sure to give me a thumbs down. You guys know any feedback is good feedback to me. And as always, I appreciate all of the love and support. And I'll catch you boys and girls in the next banger, man.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.